From the NFC East, the New York Giants take on the Oakland Raiders of the AFC. And it is 83 degrees here in the Bay Area today, and there is some humidity, more than you would normally expect this time of year in Northern California. The Raiders have won the toss. They're in their home black jerseys with silver trim. Brad DeLuiso will be kicking it off for the New York Giants. And the deep men, featuring in the middle the dangerous Desmond Howard. He dropped 2 last week. Deep into the end zone, and he'll let that one go, so Oakland will be starting from their own 20-yard line. Offensively, Jeff George, the quarterback, 3,900 passing yards a year ago. Up front, a solid defensive line still growing together. Big Lincoln Kennedy featured on the right side. Napoleon Kaufman, the dangerous running back. Ricky Dudley, that very tough tight end who has speed and pass-catching ability, to join 2 speedy wideouts in James Jett and Tim Brown. High formation starting on first down here for Jeff George and company under the new head coach this season, John Gruden. Kaufman has a lot of room. Kaufman at the 10, and he is romping into the end zone. Touchdown, Oakland. Woo! 80 yards on the opening play of the game.
Tim, I told you at the onset of the show, I said this guy can break some runs. You never know when the ball's in his hands when he can take it to the house.
Well, you can't start a game any better than that. Opening play, 80 yards for the score. Napoleon Kaufman, their number 1 pick in '95 out of the University of Washington, and the point after by Davis is good. The Oakland Raiders stun the Giants 7-0.
I want you to watch the cut he makes. Now, Keith Hamilton's going to get some penetration right in here. Watch Napoleon Kaufman make the cut back inside.
And right there, look, the safety thought he had an angle on the play, and the safety took the bad angle. Napoleon Kaufman, you can't do that. This guy is so explosive, as Bill just told you.
And they ran to the weak side of the formation. See, there's no tight end here. Watch Armstead. He can't get back inside. You see that plant there, Ronnie? He didn't have his footwork. You have to wonder about that ankle that he's been nursing all week.
And that's a play that Jesse Armstead usually makes.
Kaufman goes the distance untouched, chased by Felipe Sparks, but once he made that burst into the secondary, he just exploded past everybody, and Kaufman has himself the opening score of this game, and the Raiders harking back to the difficult home field that they create for visitors, especially those from the east.
Exploding is a good word to use when you're talking about Kaufman, because that's exactly what he is. He's an explosive back. You know, John Fox related to him. He said he's like a nitro dragster, you know? You put him in the game and blam, he can blow out a quarter mile in no time. Then he goes to the sidelines and gets refueled and comes back in and shoots off another one.
John Fox, the Giants defensive coordinator, knew Kaufman was capable of that.
Short kick.
Patton will take the short kickoff from Greg Davis. Gets out to the 23-yard line. And the Giants will have their first offensive opportunity. John Henry Mills on the tackle. So young Danny Kanell will lead out the Giants, starting for the first time at the beginning of a season. He took over last year in the starting role. A young offensive line. Howard Cross, the tight end, joined by the dangerous Ike Hilliard. They hope to get something out of him deep today. Charles Way and Tiki Barber, the starting running backs. The Giants in white to our right. Kanell last week, 15 of 28, 159 yards, a pair of touchdowns, 1 interception against Washington. On first down, Charles Way, the big fullback, who will also be at the running back position in some sets, gets a couple. Defensively for the Oakland Raiders, Johnstone, Russell, Maryland, and James Harris. Linebackers led by Greg Beekert in the middle, number 54. And a very solid secretary, the veteran Eric Allen, joined on the corner by Heisman Trophy winner Charles Woodson, Turner, and Newman. Newman playing with a sore ankle. This is Way finding running room all the way out to the 46-yard line. And a flag down for a late hit.
Yeah, you see, that's what the Raiders have to get out of the habit of doing.
That was Eric Turner after Way was already out of bounds. 21-yard gain and some tacked on now.
Well, then you're going to add 15 yards onto the 21-yard gain. And it's bad enough when your defense breaks down and they get 21-yard run on you, and then you tack on an extra 15 with a dumb play like that.
And that's what John Gruden talked about. He said, hey, we can't have this. And Eric Turner, being a veteran in that situation early on, taking the momentum away from him. You think of John Gruden, that was the one thing he talked about. We got to start fast. Now you can't let that momentum leave off this football field because the fans are in it. Everything's here happening.
Because of stupid mistakes.
15 penalties last week, 134 yards against them. This is Tiki Barber, and he is stopped just over the line of scrimmage by Anthony Newman coming up from the safety spot. They're going to mark it, however, a little better gain than it appeared. It's close to a 3-yard pickup. Now they back it up to 2. So it'll be at the 35-yard line. Call it 2nd and 8.
Well, you called Anthony Newman's name on that, and when you get a big run like that against you, you're always going to bring that strong safety up and hover him around the line of scrimmage, and that's what the Raiders did there.
Double tight end now for the Giants. Cannell's first pass attempt, and he's got Ike Hilliard. Hilliard just stopped and waited for the ball. The running back, the defensive back, went by him. So it's a first down at the 17-yard line of Oakland.
Yeah, and Ike Hilliard is a guy that they talked about. They had to get the ball to him early on. One of the things right here, he's going up against Woodson. Everybody's been taking Woodson early on, and now you see Ike Hilliard. It was a design play to throw it underneath him so he could come back. Woodson was staying up over top.
First down Giants driving here in their opening series. Tiki Barber gets about 3 down to the 15-yard line of the Raiders. James Harris on the tackle, defensive end number 93, and the linebacker Harvey, number 52.
Bill, last week, watching the Raiders in this area, this is where they really rose to the occasion.
Well, they had a lot of practice.
Yeah, they rose to the occasion, and this is where you got to play great defense, right?
Well, that's where you have to really tighten it up. You know, you can bend a little bit, you bend, but when your back gets against that goal line, you've got to tighten it up.
Hilliard in motion behind the ball. Cannell swings it out for Barber. Barber in full flight down to the 6-yard line. Richard Harvey steered him out.
When you look at this play right here, the thing that I look at is the quarterback. Now, the quarterback is patient. Danny Cannell is patient. He sits there, he reads the defense, he knows that he has man-to-man. Now, what you want to do with a Tiki Barber is get him on one-on-one situations. Don't run him up inside. Get him out there where he can do his thing.
First and goal, Giants. Barber smacks inside the 5, is driven back. Forward progress should give him about a 2-yard gain. Folston, the linebacker, number 55, and Eric Turner, safety number 42 on the hit.
Yeah, and this is where the defense gets tightened. The reason the Raiders can tighten up in here is because of their play of their 2 defensive tackles and their middle linebacker, Beaker. You see Darrell Russell in there running it down from behind, and that's what they can do. When the field gets short, it's tougher on the offense. If you don't have a powerful offense up front, it becomes tough once you get inside the 10-yard line.
1-yard pickup to the 5. Second and goal. Gary Brown in. A flag flies. May not have gotten the playoff on time. Gary Brown, acquired from San Diego, is a free agent this year. Gives him a little muscle at the running back position. 230-pounder.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense 72. There is no play. 5 yards, still second down.
Roman Oben charged with that. And that backs him up to the 10-yard line. Second and goal from there. Brown goes out. Barber returns.
Yeah, and actually that gives them, the Giants, a little bit breathing room. And it gives your offense, when it's down there, a little bit more room to operate in the end zone.
Hilliard out of the slot in motion right. Up the middle. It's complete to Hilliard, and he's in for a touchdown.
That's exactly what I was talking about.
Ike Hilliard, and the Giants respond immediately to that opening play burst by Napoleon Kaufman driving down, and the point after coming up can tie it at 7.
And you know what I like about this team on that drive is that they were patient. I mean, they got a penalty right there, Bill, but like you said, they had enough room that they could bring 3 wide receivers in, get Hilliard underneath on a little China route where he can go out and then back underneath the linebackers, split them, and get into the end zone.
Brad DeLuiso for the point after a try. And he has it. We're tied at 7. 11:03 to go in the first quarter. Opening fireworks here in this first quarter at the Oakland Coliseum. Back here in Oakland, you can see they have some of the more colorful characters who get dressed for the Oakland Raiders games. And of course, these Giants fans of the Raider fans of long standing here in Oakland, glad to have their team back, starting its 4th season back here at the Oakland Coliseum after a hiatus down in Los Angeles. DeLuiso. Another long kickoff. That's right through the end zone in the air. And all Howard could do is watch it sail over his head. Now we've had 2 offensive possessions and 2 touchdowns scored. We're still tied at 7 in Oakland. But Bill Maas and Ronnie Lott here in Oakland, 7-7 the score after the opening 80-yard run by Kopp, and the Giants replied with this.
Yeah, and right here you can see this. You can see Beaker. He moved outside too much. He wanted to communicate with Richard Harvey, and he couldn't do that.
So he got caught. Hilliard got to the end zone to tie it at 7 on first down. The Raiders from their 20. Napoleon Kaufman goes off tackle right, picks up about 3, tripped up by Keith Hamilton. Well, if you've joined us after the kickoff today, which sometimes happen, you missed what happened on the opening play of the game. An explosive burst by Napoleon Kaufman, 80 yards for the score for Oakland to give them a briefly held 7-0 lead. Giants came back with Cannell passing to Ike Hilliard, their number 1 pick a year ago, a 10-yard score to tie it up. And on second down, Jeff George intended for Tim Brown. Overthrows. That leaves third down and about 7.
John Gruden is still trying to get his players, his team, to believe in his system, and that's a hard thing to do. You know, primarily these guys for the Raiders have been around for a while, Ronnie. I mean, you come in and you have a veteran group and you're trying to push a new idea on them, trying to get to believe in the system. That's tough.
Kenny Shedd and Terry Mickens in, 2 more wide receivers, but George goes down, and it's Michael Strahan. Strahan, who had a huge day last week against Washington, picks up another sack. He had 2 last week against the Redskins, along with an interception for a touchdown.
Well, here he is right here, 92, and you're right, he is on fire. Look at the push he gets right into Lincoln Kennedy, jacking him up. Now, all that being said, there was enough time to get rid of the ball. That's what's called a coverage sack. There was some great coverage downfield, and Jeff George had no place to go with the football.
And Bill, what did Michael Strahan say he was going to do on the first play?
Take him and bull rush him.
Leo Aragoz, the punt comes up a little short. Toomer signals fair catch at the 47-yard line. The New York Giants will have excellent field position here when we return with 9:55 to go after a 34-yard punt. We're tied at 7.
Michael Strahan, 2 sacks, and right here on the zone blitz, he's man-to-man with the tight end, steps in front of a Gus Frerotte pass, takes it all the way back for a touchdown en route.
And now you see right here, Michael Strahan just takes Lincoln Kennedy back. He talked about that early on, that he was going to put pressure on. But his mom, he talked to his mom, and he said, Mom, I got you the football.
Hey, he sent her the football in Germany.
We've got first down now for the Giants in good field position. Cannell, and he's sacked. Lance Johnstone, the right defensive end. First sack by the Raiders following Strahan's effort that forced the Raider punt.
You know, one thing you want to do in your defensive end is rush half the body. Watch him rush to the outside right here. That's Roman open. Watch him run through the shoulder. See him run through half the body? Now, when you get upfield and you have the kind of speed that Johnstone has outside, you can't turn to the sidelines like Roman Oben did.
2nd and 19 now, back at the Giant 38. Tiki Barber with running room, off tackle, gets back the lost yardage and a couple of more.
Well, it's no secret where the Giants want to attack the Raiders. Now, I talked about it early on when they got down there in the red zone, that the Raiders' strength of their defense is their 2 defensive tackles inside. And all the running plays that you have seen have been bouncing off tackle. It's been going outside the ends. They're attacking the defensive ends of the Raiders and the outside linebackers. Not only on the run, but on the pass as well.
Tiki Barber had only 37 yards and 12 carries last week against Washington. 511 on the year last year. 4 wide receivers on 3rd down and 9. Now has time, but he's off target intended for Hilliard. Tight coverage on Hilliard.
You know, Ronnie, one of the things they said is they wanted to get the ball to Ike Hilliard. We saw it on the first possession, but they're still continuing to go his way.
Yeah, and the reason why is that this guy is an explosive guy right here. He's got Albert Lewis on him, and this is a play that they work on a lot. Throwing the ball behind the receiver, letting Ike Hilliard adjust and make the play right there. Danny Cannell got the ball too much outside.
4th down. Desmond Howard waiting for it at the 10-yard line. Brad Maynard's first punt for New York. Comes up short. Fair catch signaled at the 17-yard line by Desmond Howard. Just a 35-yard punt for the Giants, and we're still tied at 7 here in the first. Oakland, California, where the Giants are visiting the Raiders. We've got a 7-7 tie. Tim Ryan with Bill Maas and Ronnie Lott. What an explosive start. It looks like they've settled in now. On 1st down, the Raiders. Flag flies. Kaufman, the ball carrier, got back to the line of scrimmage and not much more. Wooten came up from the safety spot. Dick Hantak, the referee, signals holding against the Raiders.
And that's an area for the Raiders that killed them last week in Kansas City. The offensive line and the holding problems. Everybody on the offense, including the tight end, had a penalty.
Offense, number 76. Penalized half the distance to the goal line. Repeat the down. 1st down.
See, that's my old buddy Wisniewski. Boy, we used to have some battles. And he's lined up right inside here, and he's on Keith Hamilton. See, he got that foot of Hamilton. See, that's the old Pitt-Penn State rivalry. You know, wherever they, yeah. Wisniewski's from Penn State and Hamilton's from Pitt, and that rivalry continues. You know, Ronnie, you used to have that thing with the UCLA guys.
Oh, all the time, Billy.
And again, another problem, though, for the Raiders taking those kinds of penalties. George to the swingman, and he is met. Kaufman whacked. Out on the right corner, it was Hamilton, Conrad Hamilton. The man in Jason Sehorn's spot coming up to make a real good stick.
Now, Ronnie, that falls under the category of Wulick, doesn't it?
Yeah, that does fall in that category. And I think the reason why is that after that first play, Bill, Napoleon Kaufman gashed him with that long run. So they're going back to playing zone. That first play was man-to-man. They were trying to blitz. Now they went back to zone. And that's what happens when you can make a play like that. You can read and stay in the flat and come up and make a woo hit.
Washington went after Conrad Hamilton last week, but he had a pretty decent game, including an interception. Pressure again, and George had to throw it away from, he was backed into the end zone. Pressure from Scott Gallia, number 52. Well, now for an NFL update, let's go back to James Brown at our Fox Television Center.
Tim, Ronnie, and Bill, here's the end of that wild shootout in St. Louis. Tony Banks with 6 seconds left, heading for pay dirt. 4 Vikings converge, stop him at the half-inch line. That's it. Vikings pull it out by the score of 38-31. Back to Tim Ryan, Ronnie Lott, and Bill Maas.
You know, you talk about Minnesota, you talk about that explosive offense, but then it goes back and they keep people out of the end zone.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that you got to look at with that team is their defense, and not only their defense, but can Randy Moss continue to just light them up all year long?
That's a tough loss nonetheless for the Rams. Obviously played a tough game against a team considered to be much more talented, and they come up short.
Another flag down there on the field, and
yeah,
it looked like Jeff George pulled out from behind center early. There was some movement from the Giants. They crossed the line of scrimmage, but it looked to me like Jeff George bailed out of there early.
Defense.
Encroachment by Harris.
Still 3rd down. The quarterback moved after the defense had made contact with the center.
So they mark it off against the Giants this time, and I believe it was Robert Harris.
No. I thought I saw him backing out early. Hey, when you got a front four like the Giants have, it's the littlest movement by the quarterback, and you're coming off the ball, Ronnie.
Well, they get 5 anyway. 3rd and 15. George has to throw it away again.
Was he outside the tight end box?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
he made
think
it
he was,
outside.
Bill. I think
By
he
a
got
stride.
outside.
He's allowed to ground it in that situation
Boy,
if he's flush from the pocket. And
you've got to get outside. Okay, here's the tight end. Here's the tight end. Now you're going to run this right back inside the hash marks here and see where Jeff George is when he throws the ball into the dirt. I don't believe he's outside that. No, that's darn close. I can tell you that much.
Well, you know when it's close, he always goes to the offense field.
It seems that way. doesn't it?
Giants force the punting situation, and Araguz gets it dandy this time. Toomer from his own 35. Monty Toomer still going, and finally knocked out of bounds at the 48. So once again, the Giants nearly at midfield in excellent field position. Aaron Wallace pushed him out. 54-yard punt, 15-yard return. So the Giants tied at 7 in good position here. Just shots. Well, they're courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Eagle based in Carson, California. Goodyear recently increased its blimp fleet to 6, so they got them all over the place, including Europe and South America. First down, Giants at their own 48. Gary Brown gets a couple, and a flag flies from behind the Giants offensive
Yeah,
backfield.
they're going to call holding number 78, Greg Bishop. Boy, Darrell Russell was in the backfield so quick that he could have made a play, and Greg Bishop just pulled him.
Holding, offense, number 78, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down, first down.
Yeah, watch right here. Russell's going to come through here, and then Bishop right there is going to pop out. He's your guard, number 78. Watch him in the backfield. See the grasp he has on him there?
Well, when you think of a guy that's buying into John Gruden's program, you got to believe that Darrell Russell is the guy that's setting the example right now.
What a pleasure he was to visit with the other day. You know, he's learning from the best. He's learning from Howie Long. You see Howie Long dressed up there?
I saw the neck roll.
Their first pick a year ago, Russell. And now a wide open to the tight end, Cross. Cross has the first down.
And that's coming back.
And dives out to the 35-yard line
Flag
of
on the
Oakland,
play.
but another flag down.
And it's that area, Ronnie, that area out there in the flat where the linebackers and the safety are. There's confusion right now with the Raiders.
Well, I think it was confusion by Howard Cross. I don't think he knew the ball was coming to him on that play. He caught it and kind of looked around and said, whoa, I'm wide open.
Holding, offense, number 53, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down, first down.
This
Well,
time the center, Lance Scott.
Lance Scott, he's to the right of Bishop right here. Watch that looks like a little, oh, and then the shot to the head on top of it.
So the Giants looking a little bit like the Raiders did last week at Kansas City, going backwards here. Cross and Papuno, double tight end. Cannell to Papuno. Al Papuno, number 85, activated this week, coming off a knee injury. Free agent, acquired last year from Kansas City.
And he was in San Diego for years after before that. And he's a guy really that for the Giants need some good tight ends. And that's one area I talked to Jim Fossil about. He said, I want to get more productivity out of the tight end position. That's one area that I'd like to get more out of. And you think about it, and the reason is it would really help out the outside passing game if they had somebody in the middle of the field to contain those safeties.
They send Barber in motion on 2nd and 28. Screen pass to Charles Way, and Way down the sideline and collared literally at
You see who chased him down?
44.
What a play. Now that's a play. That's football. That's Darrell Russell. Now look at Darrell Russell all the way down the football field. But it was an excellent play because they had a blitz on right here. But you have Darrell Russell on the inside being able to not come off. He's dropping. He's got a zone blitz. He's dropping. He reads the screen. Now he plays off the block, and 330 pounds gets up the football field and snatches him with one hand.
And I've seen this kid run that hard on every time he's on the field. I like that about him.
Pat Swilling in defensively on the edge on the right side here in the pass rush. Third down, just a little less than 14, and Cannell connects to Hilliard. He's tied up immediately, short of the first down at the 46-yard line of the Raiders.
Hey, you see Danny Cannell on that play? I mean, you're talking about a young quarterback and growing up and maturing. Watch the pressure. Here comes Eric Turner right in his face. And he knows he's coming in his face, and he somehow gets that ball out of there. And we're talking to Jim Fossil. He said that's one thing. He said, last year I had to find a way to win with a young quarterback. This year, I'm watching him take strides in maturity.
And he's got that sixth sense that every quarterback has. Bradshaw, all these guys have that sense of just knowing where to go with the football.
Maynard, another short punt, but it'll take a good Giants bounce and is going to be buried at the 3-yard line. Sean Williams down there to down it. So the Oakland Raiders will be starting from inside their 3 when we return. After this reminder, tomorrow.
That's something that John Gruden talked about, but the thing that they have to do is not have the penalties. Now, if they can stay away from that, I think that this team could be a good football team.
Oakland starting deep again. They spot the ball at the 4 after the punt. George gets it away, and it's complete to Tim Brown. Foot race on again. This time, he's pulled down by Tito Wooten. But a first down in Giant territory at the 46.
Well, we talked about Jeff George. If you look at this throw right here, the great thing about this throw is he threaded the needle right there inside the linebacker. And on the backside, we got the wrong angle there, but if you see him, he threaded the needle. He was able to get the ball to Tim Brown. It was an excellent throw, but that's what we want to see out of Jeff George in this West Coast offense. He also has to buy into this offense. He also has to believe in these receivers, and right there, that was a great play by Tim Brown and Jeff George.
49 yards the gain to Tim Brown. Napoleon Kaufman stuffed after a gain of close to 2.
Michael Strahan and Corey Whitmer with the stop.
Strahan in on it with Corey Widmer.
Let's take a look in at Jesse Armstead. Remember the first play? We took a look at his ankle. He's had that sprained ankle all week. And he's in there and he's just pushing. You know, you see him, he's just pushing on a pile, pushing on the people. And Ronnie, that's a dead giveaway that there's still a lot of pain and anger. He's not flying around like the player that I know he is.
Gain of a yard. Wing set left, and behind the ball comes Tim Brown. Pressure again on George, and down he goes. Back at the 40-yard line, Chad Bratsky.
Well, you know something there? To change that, John Fox, the defensive coordinator, said, hey, yeah, I'm not seeing the movement from Jesse Armstead. Right here, you see Armstead coming from the middle, up the hole. He runs through Kaufman, the back, and he's putting pressure, and that's what you want to do. If your guy's kind of hurt.
Look what they do. They run that trailer blitz. They bring the first linebacker inside, then loop him around. So that the back has to make a choice on who to pick up. So, you know, John, you're right. John Fox saw that and say, hey, we're going to create some scenarios for Jesse Armstead to get free.
And he set up the sack for Bratsky, who had 2 last week against the Redskins. Second sack today by the Giants. Third down at the 40-yard line. George flushed again. He had a little more time. Now he throws this one away. And another punting situation for Oakland. Right now, let's have another NFL update from James Brown in Hollywood.
All right, Tim, Bill, and Ronnie, body punches being thrown by Denver and Dallas. Denver this time as Terrell Davis cutting back out of the eye, 63 yards to pay dirt. They answered Dallas, a score less than 2 minutes later, 14-7 Denver. Back to Tim, Bill, and Ronnie.
Boy, it looked like they jumped off to the kind of start we had here.
I was waiting to see the piano get on his back, and it never did.
Leo Aragoose hits from his 30-yard line. Looks like it came off the side of his foot. Toomer from his 22, and he'll bring it. Takes a hard hit, knocked out at the 30-yard line, and again, decent field position for the Giants. They just haven't been able to capitalize. Calvin Branch on the hit. 38-yard punt, 9-yard return as we look at the defensive coordinator for the Raiders, Willie Shaw.
Yeah, he came in. He's new this year along with John Gruden's staff. And John Gruden knew him back in the days when John was in Green Bay and Willie was part of the Minnesota Vikings crew, and they brought him in to correct this. I mean, if you take a look at that, and let me sum it up for you. Last year, simply put, they were last in total defense, they were last in rushing defense, and they were last in passing defense. That was an NFL first. In NFL history, it's the first time a team was 30th in all those categories.
Charles Way on first down. Got a couple. Donnell is 6 of 7 passing. He was 3 of 3 in the opening drive that led to the Hilliard touchdown.
Ronnie, I think the one thing that Willie's instilled in this group, and what I saw last week in Kansas City, is they have fight. Now, part of that reason they were so bad last year in 30th is because a lot of times they just gave up.
Yeah, and I think the reason why they gave up is that they didn't buy into it. I mean, we keep talking about selling, but Willie Shaw can sell you anything, and the one thing he can sell you is pressure. He can put pressure on the quarterback, and these guys are starting to buy into it, but they have to continue to create that and make that happen.
Donnell finds Hilliard in traffic. There's pressure on Cannell, and he released the ball right into a crowd, but Hilliard came up with a catch, and Eric Allen on the tackle.
Now you can see right here, and everybody's talked about Woodson. What I like about this kid, he's confident. He understands the game, and what he does right there, he stays with the play.
Yeah.
He finished the play. Now John Gruden and Willie Shaw both talked about it. How do you stay with the play? How do you keep after people? How do you finish plays? Charles Woodson, he knew how to finish plays when he was 5 years old.
That should have been a penalty. They had 12 men in the offensive huddle.
3rd down and 2. Barber brings it to the near side. Good pursuit by the Raiders, shuts it down. Allen, the cornerback, number 21, got the first lick on the previous play with Woodson wrapping him up, and Allen comes to the running play this time.
And talking about selling things, he brought in Eric Allen for that reason.
Take a look here, Ronnie. The new rule this year is you're not allowed to have 12 men in the huddle on the offense. See the 12th guy running off the field? That's the new rule put in this year by the NFL, and the reason is being because you can't trick the defense. You cannot trick them into thinking, well, what do we have out there?
Maynard hits from the 22-yard line of the Giants. That's a good punt, backing up Desmond Howard, and he's dropped immediately inside the 15. Sean Williams, the rookie, putting a good hit on Desmond Howard, the number 1 choice out of UCLA by the Giants. 53-yard punt.
You know how you throw darts and you're trying to get the bullseye and you throw it a little bit to the left and you miss it? He tried to throw the body right at the bullseye, but he was a little off, Bill.
Hey, did he get in the blue section though? Did he get in the 25-point range? Hey, you got to, the red's a 50, and then the blue and the outside's 25.
Oh, you know what the middle
Number
spot
85. Penalty is declined. Holding. Receiving team while the ball is in the air. Number 50. That penalty is accepted. Penalized half the distance to the goal line. 1st down.
2 guys called on the receiving team. And they'll start from the, let's see where they're backing this up yet. All the way down to the 6-yard line of the Raiders.
That's Frank Gans Jr., the son of Frank Gans, who's special team phenom coach throughout almost every team in the NFL. But, he's passed down that tradition to his son on coaching the special teams. And he had a tough go last week. You see the numbers right there today, the offense. But he had a tough go last week with Desmond Howard.
And another flag in the air on 1st down. Kaufman got out near the 8-yard line, but a flag flies just as soon as the ball was snapped. Corey Woodmer made the stop for the Giants.
Offside. Defense. Number 55 lined up into neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 1st down.
Marcus Buckley, linebacker number 55. So both teams just showing a lack of discipline here and a lot of penalties. It must be they have the coaches tearing their hair out early in this game. We still are in the 1st period, 28 seconds to go.
Tim, remember yesterday when we talked with Tim Brown? Tim Brown said, if we don't beat ourselves, we can beat everybody we play.
Christian Peter and Bernard Holsey come in for the Giants defensively. 1st down and 5 for the Raiders. Quick pass out to Tim Brown. Trying to get to the marker, and they're going to be very close, but I think they're going to really step on the line just before he got to the 1st down marker. Sparks in the coverage. Terrell Davis, we're told, has just run for another long score, 60 yards, and we just saw moments ago on that highlight we brought you from James Brown in that Dallas-Denver game. So the Broncos open a lead to 21-7 over Dallas. And it is 1st down here for the Raiders at the 11-yard line. Kaufman dropped for a loss as good pressure by the Giants front. And we have reached the end of the 1st quarter with the score. The Oakland Raiders 7, the New York Giants 7. Fox NFL Sunday continues after this. Hasn't tied with the Giants. 25 years since the Giants played in this stadium. 2nd down and 15. The Oakland Raiders. George intended for Tim Brown, incomplete. Conrad Hamilton with the coverage. Number 41.
On the coverage.
Tim Brown, their star receiver, last year 104 catches for the Oakland Raiders. 77 games in a row he has caught at least one pass. Advanced it one more earlier in this game. Third down, 15. And they go to Harvey Williams. And Williams picks up the first down running all the way out to the 35-yard line. Williams with his first carry. Harris and Armstead having to range way back to make the tackle.
Well, you got to wonder if they don't know about Jesse Armstead and how he's feeling with that foot. You know, that little foot pass outside there, attacking the outside perimeter on the Giants.
George now 4 of 8, pardon me, passing. Pitch now. This is Kaufman, and he's got room. Kaufman keeps his balance and gets another first down to the 45-yard line of the Oakland Raiders.
They have a little motion play in here. Now watch what happens. Harvey Williams comes down and cracks on Bradsky, and that gets the seam there. Napoleon Kaufman can make just about anybody in this league miss.
What you like about that play, Bill, though, is that they're attacking people, they're getting outside, and Harvey Williams is a guy that they want to get somehow involved in this offense, blocking, running, doing a lot of things there.
Straight drop this time for George. Deep downfield, intended for Dudley, and double coverage down there breaks it up. The linebacker Scott Gallion running with him, and Tito Wooten, the safety, number 29.
Well, when you look at this group right here, that's what you want. If you're going to rush 4, give me some time. Let me get this receiver down the field. Ricky Dudley, right there. Ricky Dudley is a guy that they have to figure out how to get the ball to.
Did you see Scott Gallion, 52? It looks like he had a hand on the collar of Ricky Dudley, who was pulling him back.
2nd and 10 Raiders at their own 45. We're still tied at 7. Just underway in the second quarter here in Oakland. And that is incomplete. Oh, a little high for James Jett. He couldn't bring it down. Sparks had the coverage.
The ball was thrown a little bit high to Jett.
But in this offense, that standard of excellence that John Gruden talked about, the thing that he wants out of this team is to raise their level of excellence a little bit higher. Right now, this team's standard is low. That's why they're practicing faster. That's why they got the tempo. They're trying to create a different atmosphere here, and you got to have consistency with your wide receivers. They got to make plays.
3rd and 10. George sideliner off the mark. Something went wrong on that one. Mickens, the intended receiver, but
I don't think
he wasn't where George thought he was going to be.
I'm not talking about the last 2 passes either. I'm talking about so far every time he's thrown the ball, he doesn't look sharp. And, you know, when you talk about Jeff George, that's one of the things you talk about, streaky. You know, every time you do a Jeff George game and you talk to the opposing defense coordinator, they say the same thing. Boy, when he gets hot, he's something else.
Once again, the Raiders have to punt. Araguz lofts a very high punt that comes down at the 10. A fair catch signal there by Toomer. The Giants will start at their 11-yard line, tied at 7 with the Raiders here after a 44-yard punt. First down for the Giants from their 10-yard line, and not much there as Tiki Barber stopped by Eric Turner. The Raiders have changed their front somewhat. Grady Jackson in for Darrell Russell, and Pat Swilling on the end for Johnstone.
No gain on the play. 2nd down and 10.
Still going to leave 2nd and 10 from the 11-yard line.
Nice grab.
That's Howard Cross from Canal. Be close to the first down. Cannell now 8 of 9 passing for the Giants.
Look at the numbers there with the Giants on their first drive. They marched right down the field and got that touchdown to tie the game. And since then, they really haven't done much.
On first down, Gary Brown trying the right side, gets a couple. Close to the 25-yard line. Well, let's go and show you that Terrell Davis run again for a touchdown. Let's go to James Brown in Hollywood.
Hey, Timmy, this was his second one. This one out of the far eye, cut back inside, 59 yards to the end zone. That made it 21-7. Emmitt Smith did come back to help the Cowboys cut the gap to a touchdown, 21-14. Back to Tim, Bill, and Ronnie.
Cowboys getting it up.
They're still looking for that free safety to show up.
Nothing there for Charles Way. Yard at most. Brings up a passing down.
And you know what's happening here. You're looking at the Giants, and Fossil talked about, I'm just here to figure out how we win games. I'm not going to sit there and worry about statistics. I'm not going to worry about a lot of things that people put a lot of work into. I'm going to worry about how do you get a W. And right here, he doesn't want to turn the ball over. We're going to hold the ball. And when you're 0 for 3, and last week they had 18% on third down, they got to make a play here.
Cannell, and he connects with Callaway. Callaway has the first down for the Giants to the 36, maybe the 37-yard line.
You know, when you talk about the Giants over the years and you watch, this guy right here, number 80, Callaway, he's really been as consistent as any receiver that I can think of in the league. Not great speed, not great good hands, possession receiver, not great route runner. I mean, just finds a way to get open and get the job done consistently.
Callaway has now caught a pass in 33 consecutive games, had 58 on the season a year ago. Cannell play action, just gets it away to Barber. Barber makes a good catch and gains about 7 on the play. Greg Biekert, the linebacker.
What a throw there. How about that? You got people hanging on you. You're in your second year, and you got the poise to be able to get the ball to Tiki Barber and hit him in stride. And Coach Fossil talked about that. I mean, I like the fact that this kid, Danny Cannell, has that presence. He has that leadership ability, Bill.
Well, he said that sixth sense in playing the position. He says not all the time he can see actually what's all around the field, but he has a feel. He knows if this blitz is coming here, he knows where the open receiver is.
Cannell now 10 of 11 for 99 yards. Gary Brown gets the call this time, gains a little more than a yard, short of the first down. Should leave third and about a yard to go.
You know, when you talk about the Giants, you have to look at the whole team. And last year, it was their defense. It was the defense took them to the top of the division. And Coach Fossil knew it because he had to put everything on the defense because you had a young quarterback. This year, he's trying to get more out of his quarterback, a little bit more out of his offense. Now, their defense always comes up for them. They always find a way to make turnovers and make plays and put the offense in position to win.
Third and short, and the Raiders come up big here. Grady Jackson stops Gary Brown behind the line, and it forces the Giants into a punting situation.
And there's that third down percentage again. You know, third down, and you're trying to go for, what are they, 1 for 4, 1 for 5 today? Look at Grady Jackson. Look at him. He just blows right in the backfield, comes off his block of Ron Stone and shoots in the backfield. And as a defensive lineman, especially in short yardage situation, that's where you want to be, on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
What do they call that, root hogging?
You guys call it that because you call us hogs. We call it penetration.
Brad Maynard's punt and the fair catch signaled by Desmond Howard at the 14-yard line. 45-yard punt, and Darrell Russell headed to the Raider locker room on the limp. 8:21 remaining first half. Fox will be in Cincinnati, and Cincinnati with a good win today over Detroit in overtime. They'll take on Green Bay, who sent Tampa Bay to its second consecutive defeat. That's complete to Dudley, the tight end, out to the 19-yard line, close to the 20. George now 4 of 12 passing.
Yeah, and John Gruden knows that he's got to get Ricky Dudley involved in this game. the thing about Ricky Dudley, though, is he reminds me of Kellen Winslow. And in that formation, he's lined up as a wide receiver. He was able to take the strong safety out there, and that's what you want to do. You want to get him in positions where he can move around and make plays, get the ball in his hands, and this guy could change the complexion of this team.
He may be hurt. He went out holding his hand. Derek Brown is in there now. 2nd and 4, and it's sailed by Georgian again. Obviously, there's some miscommunication. No receiver anywhere near the play.
Yeah, and George is hitting the top of his head saying, hey, you know, Jet, you got to keep on going inside. I'm expecting that speed to keep going inside. He's anticipating there that he's going to, you know, keep going, and Jet breaks off the route.
Either that or think. Look, he's think, you know. He checked at the line of scrimmage to an audible. He changed out of the play. It looked like they ran a different route than what Jeff was throwing to.
Sure did. 3rd down, about 4. Rolling this time and gets it out to James Jett. Makes the catch short of the 1st down. So once again, Oakland will have to punt. Well, it's been a pretty shabby offense, really, on the part of both teams so far, unable to sustain any kind of drives. Remember, when this game began, you had Kaufman going 80 yards for the opening score for Oakland. The Giants drove right back on a good drive led by Danny Cannell, 3 for 3, and then connecting with Hilliard for the score. Since then, it hasn't been so much good defense as shoddy offense on the part of both squads. 6:59 to go, 1st half. Aragoose can really loft it. Toomer, as it bounced back in, it did not go out of bounds. He thought it was going to go out, but it bounces for the Raiders down inside the 15 of the Giants.
And
58 yards.
Amani right here, you gotta stay with the ball. You gotta stay with it. You gotta try to make that play. And I'm sure that his dad is looking at him right now saying, son, you gotta make that play.
Amani Toomer, he's from this area. He was born in San Francisco, grew up in Berkeley on the right of your screen. That's his dad, Donald. Now, Donald works here as the man operating the 40-second clock at Raiders home games. So a little bit of a homecoming for Amani Toomer here. And his dad, no doubt, keeping a close eye on his progress in this game. Tiki Barber on 1st down for the Giants, out to the 18-yard line. Grady Jackson made the tackle. And the word on Darrell Russell, he has an injured ankle. We don't know the extent of it, but he has not yet returned to the field, the starting right defensive tackle for Oakland. Their first pick last year from USC. Giants have rushed for 42 yards, Oakland for 114. We have 6:15 to go in the half. Barber, stopped by Beekert, gets about another 4 yards on the play for New York.
You know, we talked to Charles Way yesterday, and you know, Way used to be just a blocker. Watch number 30. He's leading up there, the fullback. He puts that hit on Richard Harvey. It opens the crease there for Tiki Barber to get outside. But now Way is a guy that carries the ball. And yesterday he was saying around, you know, he wants the ball about 15 times a game.
6 defensive backs in, the dime, and the pass is incomplete. Intended for Patton, David Patton, number 83. And so the Oakland Raiders defense holds.
And right here, Eric Allen, they brought him in here for this reason. To take out the wide receiver, to play man-to-man tough defense when we're blitzing. And this relationship with Eric Allen and Willie Shaw, they go back a long ways. When Eric Allen was a kid, right, in high school, they met each other, and Willie Shaw sat down with him and said, son, you got a chance to be a great football player, but you got to go to school. And Willie Shaw at the time was an English teacher, did that.
Maynard's punt comes down at the 38-yard line. There is a flag on the play after not a good punt, only 39 yards from Brad Maynard, but a flag down and a discussion at midfield. Referee Dick Hantak with the call.
During the punt, holding, receiving team number 44, 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Well, another 10 yards tacked onto the Raider docket.
There's a hold right here. John Henry Mills had a hold of him. Ryan Phillips, anything goes.
Tim Ryan with Bill Maas and Ronnie Lott here at Oakland Coliseum. And Jesse Armstead came into this game with a severely sprained ankle, insisted on starting and going as long as he can. He's still in there, 5:27 to go in the half. On first down, the Raiders stop behind the line of scrimmage. It'll be a loss. No running room for Kaufman that time. Well, these two Giant coaches, Jim Fossil, the head coach, and the defensive coordinator, John Fox, spent some time here. Fossil worked for the Oakland Raiders in '95. John Fox, the defensive coordinator, was here '94 and '95. And so today has a little special meaning for them, coming back to take on John Gruden, of course, Al Davis and company. Jeff George, that's on the money to Terry Mickens, and a gain of about 6 on the play. I make it to 8 yards on the play with a 2-yard loss on the run. Third down. Third down and about 5 with the marker now. 4:40 to go.
Yeah, and it was funny, before the game, I saw Fossil and Al Davis out there converse with one another, and you know that they're sitting there talking about strategy, but also reminiscing on what could have been.
Yep, movement there.
Like Derek Graham, the right guard, jumped a little early. You know, there was a story out that, you know, Fossil was unhappy that Al Davis was calling all the plays.
Offense, 74, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
You know, Jim Fossil said, no, that's absolutely not true. That wasn't the case at all.
Don't you think that's been the case with Al Davis over the years, just because he's a former coach and because he's so involved with his team? It's always been felt that, I bet he calls all the plays. Well, Jim Fossil said, at least when he was here, that's not the case. Third down and 10 now. George changing up. Williams is in the backfield as a lone setback. George, he's got a man open, and that is Mickens. First down, Raiders in Giants territory at the 42-yard line. $27 yards, they spotted at the 45.
Well, everything starts up front, and these guys do a nice job of stopping the pass rush of the Giants' front four. And then downfield.
What you like here is Mickens. And why did they bring him in here, Bill?
Yeah, exactly.
So he could teach these guys how to finish plays. That's what Mickens did with Gruden in Green Bay.
And he knows the system.
Napoleon Kaufman, and he's dropped behind the line, and it's Conrad Hamilton after the good charge by Bratsky. Conrad Hamilton from the corner ties him up.
Now, Bratsky's an interesting story. This guy, if you look at everything that's surrounding him, you say, this guy doesn't belong in the NFL. And to be quite honest with you, they've probably tried to cut him every year he's been there. But to me, he's like Freddy Krueger. He won't go away. He didn't go away when he was a walk-on in college, and he's just kept trying and trying and trying, and now he won't go away from the starting lineup.
Starter at defensive end. Second down and 12.
Finish,
and another flag down as the pass falls incomplete.
Robert Harris, 97, jumped in the inside there.
Offside. Defense, number 97. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. Second down.
Robert Harris.
And you can see here Jeff George is giving them a couple of late counts here. You know, trying to slow this rush down, and that's what you have to do. You got to take the edge off this Giant front four, and you do that by going with a hard count and going on 3 and 2.
Well, the Raiders' offensive line have been doing a nice job of giving George some time. The problem's really been the timing between George and his receivers.
John Ritchie, the lone running back, he's the fullback. Nickel package in defensively on second down. George, too far, too long. Intended for Mickens down the left sideline.
You know, I saw that last week from George too. And I saw him make a couple nice throws on the run. We saw watching film run. He was, oh my gosh, how do you make that throw? It was right on the money. But then when he had some time, one thing Jeff George isn't going to do, he's not going to underthrow a guy.
No, he's not going to do that. But the footwork, And that's something that John Gruden is trying to do. Work with the complete package. Get him to work into the pattern, not stay with the pattern, not fall back, not throw off the back foot.
Down to pro set, still 3 wides. George gets some time now, rolls to his right, and he's off target, short of Tim Brown.
He's off target, and he's been off target all day. His throws have not been on all day long. And if you have to go back and think, why? Why could that be? Well, remember the hyperextended elbow last week? He had the injury. Now, we sat down and talked to him, and he said, no, I've been fine. You know, it's fine. I just got it bent back. Derek Thomas bent it, and, you know, it strained it a little bit, but I'm fine. But his balls have not been on the money at all today.
And that's a difficult thing to do, is throw the ball with the hyperextended elbow, because those ligaments and that joint area gets a little swollen there, and now trying to get that ball out there is tough, Bill.
Leo Ara goes and lofts another high one. It's taken as a fair catch by Toomer at the 13-yard line of the New York Giants. A 29-yard punt. We still are at 7-7 with friends home in Sun Valley, Idaho. Great baseball fan and partner of mine, and we watched McGuire do it, and it was a thrill. It was really a great thrill.
I think everyone's going to remember where they were, and of course they were watching Fox.
Absolutely. On first down, Cannell. Off target, intended for the tight end cross.
You're going to have a roughing the passer.
And a flag down back near the goal line, and it was James Harris, the defensive end, number 93, took a late hit on Cannell.
Defense number 93, late hit, led with the head, 15 yards, first down.
Well, the ref, okay, you got the personal foul and you got the 15 yards, but then they're going to say not only was it a late hit, but you led with the head. So it's a late hit and you led with the head.
Well, and you can't say he was using his head in the way his coach would like him to use his head, because it's another costly penalty. Same problems they had last week, 15 of them against Kansas City. 134 yards they gave up.
When you've got a couple minutes left to go in the half, you don't want to give any free yards up.
2:23 to go, and the Giants find themselves out now at their 28-yard line. Tiki Barber, and that's Turner coming up.
Great fill.
Blowing in from the safety spot, dropping Barber for the loss.
And last year, Eric Turner came in here with high expectations. Watch this play right here, and these are the expectations that I like. Getting up in that hole, sitting there, attacking, taking on Tiki Barber and bringing him down.
It looks like a 42 I once remember hovering around the line of scrimmage, smacking people around.
We'll be back here in Oakland. 2 minutes to go, first half. His quarterback, Danny Cannell, and they've built an excellent relationship that certainly helped this young quarterback. And he connects to Cross. Cross gets back near the original line of scrimmage. Leaves third and about 10, depending on the spot. Jim Fossil, who was a quarterback in college himself and has coached quarterbacks in the pros, including John Elway at Denver, and he says that Cannell has common sense and a good feel for the game. And for his part, Cannell says it's great to have a head coach who's also a quarterback coach. Look at the numbers, 11 to 13. Third down and 9. Toomer, Patton, Callaway, 3 wide receivers in. Lots of time for Cannell. Go to the short man. Callaway trying to get to the marker. I don't think he made it. It'll be close. Short of the first down.
Cannell make a great throw. He couldn't make it. He had to throw it out to the flat. They couldn't get the first down.
Brad Maynard with the punt. Desmond Howard signals fair catch at the 20-yard line. His old man Kenny Shedd gave him a little knock, and Howard looking around saying, "Hey, whose side are you on?" 44-yard punt.
When you talk about the Giants, and you talk about
neither team has been able to sustain an offense. George on first down from the 20. That's complete to Ritchie, the fullback from Stanford, out of the backfield. Their number 3 pick, third-round pick. Down at 4, 57 seconds remaining first half. Again, flags and whistles everywhere. You know, talking to Jeff George on every throw. I just have to accept that. It doesn't affect my throwing. Well, this afternoon it looks like maybe it has. Now we've got
Ryan
again
Phillips.
everybody remaining. Second and long 3. George connects this time. The Raiders have a first down to the 40-yard line. James Jett.
This one.
Rolling this time. And he finds an open man at Jett again, and a first down. Raiders into Giants territory. 29 seconds on the clock.
Raiders call timeout. Third pocket passer. But there's always been some other circumstances, and hopefully he can trust in John Gruden.
Stay with us at halftime for JB and Terry. If you looked at everything around the league, John Ritchie makes his second catch. 2 setbacks. George with time and has another first down to the 35-yard line. That's Terry
To kick the field goal.
First down from the Giants 35. Screen. Kaufman. Kaufman gets down to the 22-yard line. The ball came loose.
And they used their last timeout.
No, and I think it's a fumble there. It's a fumble.
No,
It's a fumble.
Loose
Giants ball.
Bradsky put the hit on him, and they're going to rule the Giants 22-yard line. George to the end zone. Nobody home there.
Putting the hold down, yeah.
Putting the ball down.
And what you want to watch for with Davis is his plant foot in that dirt.
41-yard attempt. And it is good. Greg Davis, who struggled last week with 2, comes up with a 41-yard field goal as the zeros go up. And the Oakland Raiders, with a break on that call that maintained possession for them, wind up taking a lead into the locker room in an otherwise undistinguished offensively played first half. The Giants with a fumble that came loose, recovered by New York in the final seconds. Replay indicated that it should have been their ball. It remained Oakland's. That led to the field goal and the 3-point lead. This is David Patton, and he's got some running room. And is bumped at about the 15 and flies forward to the 20. And so the Giants will start from there, trailing 10-7 as we begin the second half. Giants rushed for only 43 yards, a problem last week against Washington as well. They passed for 101. And the Raiders is struggling on offense despite 135 yards passing, unable to sustain any drives, but they have the lead. Look at the penalties. Same thing as last week for the Raiders. We have a flag here on the opening kickoff. That brings us to a total of 15 penalties as we begin the second half.
Yeah, and it's 8 now for the Raiders. And last week they had 15, which was entirely too many. And they're right hovering around the same number right now. They went into the halftime with 7, and they're right back first play of the game. They're on track again. That's an area John Gruden cannot tolerate. It's hard enough to sell belief in the program, getting your new system involved, offensively, defensively, because it is a new system. It's new names.
We have to eliminate penalties that have thwarted our drives, and also individual breakdowns, which have resulted in big plays for the other team. And so far, in a game and a half, he's had the same kinds of problems the Raiders have had in recent years. So the second kickoff to start the second half, taken at the 5-yard line by David Patton, comes straight up the field and gets a good block. And it's Davis, the kicker, who pushes him out in Oakland territory at the 46-yard line. 49-yard return for David Patton.
Watch what he does here. First of all, he gets up into the wedge. Watch the 3-man wedge up there. They kick out. Now, when it's running back, you want to get up into it, then find your cut. Then find where you're going to take it.
And then you want to attack the kicker. You want to go right at him.
You don't want to step out of bounds.
A 49-yard kick return for David
So the
Patton.
Giants trailing by 3. Good start here. A 35-yard differential following that second kickoff. Cannell just stepped up away from the rush there and never even saw it. He's over the head of Callaway, but there'll be flags flown. Eric Allen on the coverage.
Flags flown.
What, me?
Flags flown.
Did I have my hands all over?
42.
Holding. Defense, number 21. 5 yards. Automatic first
No,
down.
it wasn't you, Ronnie. It was Eric Allen.
That was you late in your career.
How did you know? Because right here you look at Eric Allen, and he's trying to stay with him, but you got to get the hands off of him. You can't have heavy hands. Yeah, you're going to have some incidental contact, but you can't have heavy hands. You got to get them off.
Darrell Russell has returned following his ankle injury in the first half. He's in the defensive front for Oakland, and that is complete to Ike Hilliard.
Another flag.
Yet another flag down.
This is enjoyable.
3 consecutive plays starting the second half, infractions called.
One against Oakland. There's a late flag too.
Yeah, I think it's holding on out here on Tiki Barber. The linebacker was covering him to the flat, and it had his hands all on him.
Hands up in his face.
Illegal use of the hands to the face defense, number 24. Penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
That's Charles Woodson, the Heisman winner.
Watch his hands on the jam. Watch him come up in the shoulder pad right in his face.
Another costly penalty puts the Giants inside the 30. Barber.
And another flag.
And another flag makes it 4 flags on 4 plays.
Holding. You know, you could ask me if I'm amazed at 4 penalties in a row, but I'm not amazed at anything. We just talked to a guy on the internet
Offside,
at halftime.
Defense 93, lined up in the neutral zone, 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down, first down.
Was there a flag on that internet call?
There might have been, but can you imagine? I mean, here we are. We're talking to a guy at halftime on an internet. And Tim, you know, we're going to bring you up to speed on the internet stuff, and that, you know, the guy called in and asked a question. This isn't talk radio, Tim.
That's right.
He logged on.
He logged on.
Okay, and he sent a little email to us and then asked the question.
Well, we're glad to have it, and nonetheless, all we've seen so far is yellow flags in this second half. And he gets smacked, and the ball comes loose. That's James Harris. Let's see who comes up with the ball.
Oh,
and the Giants recover.
And Darrell Russell wanted to pick the ball up. He wanted to pick the ball up and run with it. He should have just fell on the football right there. You got to fall on the football. When you got a chance to get it right here, Canal is trying to do a double fake there, and he holds onto it just a little too long. Harris comes around, gets on the ball. Now Russell's trying to pick it up, but
you're exactly right. You see Harris comes around on the strip, swatting the ball. Nice play by Harris. Now right there, Russell trying to figure 2 things. First of all, you fall on the ball. Secondly, you can get injured that way in traffic.
Scott Gregg was the man who recovered it for the Giants to keep possession, and yet another flag.
Start. Offense, number 65.
This is unbelievable.
5-yard penalty.
Ron
Still second
Stone,
down.
the guilty party this time. And that'll back up the Giants.
Second and 17 at the 36 for the Giants.
The one thing, like last week as well, the Raiders front and linebackers continue to keep coming and apply pressure. He's been sacked twice and hurried 5 times and hit 3 times. Second down and 18. Screen. Charles Way back near the original line of scrimmage.
That's one of the only screens I think I've ever seen with no blockers out in front. Way was out in front of his blockers. But take a look. Danny Kanell drops up. Now he wants the rush to come in. See, here comes Harvey up. And he wants to. Now these guys don't get out. The only person that gets out is Way.
And he's looking for some help.
Pushed out by Beekert. It'll leave third down. Long 10. Juravicius comes in. Callaway and Hilliard, 3 wides. 2 of them to the left. Callaway in the slot. Kanell steps up and starts to run with it. And did he get to the marker?
No, he didn't.
Oh, you make a great play. You point out the blocker. You got to dive for the first down there. You got to do the John Elway thing. You got to go up in the air and go after it.
He didn't know where he was on the field, Ronnie. He did not know where the first down marker was. Because he runs behind it. See look, he runs behind the pylon there. The little flag they throw down right there. Look, he's looking at it, and he runs behind it.
So they'll attempt a field goal from 37 yards out. Brad DeLuiso.
Delay game. Flag.
The flag back in the end zone. They didn't make the clock on the field goal play. Oh man, that's going to age Jim Fossil.
Delay, offense, 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
So now it's a 41-yard attempt.
You knew he was going to catch heck on that. Amani Toomer. The guys are going to be mad at Amani Toomer because his dad started that 40-second clock early.
42-yard attempt officially for DeLuiso. Trying to tie it up. He's got the leg, and he's got the target. So it is tied at 10 here with 11:53 to go, but guess what again? Another flag down. 6 infractions on this series. First
Holding.
Offensive possession in the second half
Defense,
for New York.
number 55, 5 yards, automatic 1st down.
Well, it's against the Raiders, so they'll now, that's going to leave them short of the 1st down if they take it.
No, that's 1st down.
Let's see. Yeah, that's right, sorry.
That's 1st down. First down. And the ball moved to the 20-yard line. And what that does for the Giants haven't been playing well at all. The Raiders, who give themselves a chance not to win this football game by doing stuff like that, but the Giants get back into the game. Fossil gets to settle down here, but it's unbelievable. I haven't seen anything like this at all.
Take the 3 off the board and a 1st down Giants, and there's the catch by Callaway, and it's first. It's a touchdown for the Giants. Chris Callaway, and the Giants are in front. I mean, what an incredible series of events to open this second half.
I read this one time.
Maybe you dreamt it.
I think I read this somewhere, Bill. It's one of my novels that it might be the Tim Green novel. I might have read that somewhere in the novel.
Tim Green's Red Zone, perhaps. DeLuiso going for the point after. Cannell to Chris Callaway after they take the 3 off the board with a penalty against the Raiders. And the Giants 14-10. 11:47 to go in the 3rd quarter. Some bizarre happenings in the Oakland Coliseum. The Giants have taken a 14-10 lead, and it was Chris Callaway making the catch of the pass from Danny Cannell from 20 yards out to give the Giants the lead after a bizarre series. This is Howard from the goal line. And Desmond Howard, good return all the way to the 40-yard line of the Oakland Raiders.
And there you got Danny Cannell that made a great throw there. And the reason he made a great throw, he was able to look at his receiver, Chris Callaway. Bill alluded to this earlier, that Chris Callaway is a crafty wide receiver there, and you can see him up on top. But the double move. In the NFL, you see that all the time, but what you don't see in the NFL is a quarterback that's able to throw the ball to the outside, to have the sense of knowing that the defensive back is going to sit on the inside, throw it away to his blind spot, the blind spot of the defensive back into the receiver's hands. And that was a great throw by Danny Cannell.
On 1st down, Julian Kaufman has a 1st down inside Giant territory to the 48-yard line. Tito Wooten steered him out. Kaufman carried for the first time to start this game and went 80 yards for the opening score. Since that time, that 80-yard rush, 4-2 and -5, 11 is last best gain until that one there for 12 and an Oakland 1st down. And they go to him again, and Kaufman picks up maybe 7.
And a flag.
And yet another penalty flag.
You know, you look at those numbers of Kaufman, and the only thing that can really remind you of, they're Barry Sanders numbers, you know? Barry Sanders gets -5, 2, 8, 60.
Face mask, defense, number 75, 5-yard penalty. will be a first down.
Keith Hamilton grasping the face mask.
Here's Hamilton here, number 75, the defensive tackle.
And when you look at this play, Hamilton, as John Fox said, you want to keep the rim on the saucer. They're trying to keep the rim on the saucer with this guy. They want to keep him contained.
First down. And that time he stacked up Harvey Williams right at the line of scrimmage. Little, if any, gain. Trying to run straight ahead.
You know, Marcus Buckley came flying in there. You know, so that's one thing you have to do is blow up the run game. That's how you have to stop the run game. A lot of people try to bring 8 men up in the box, have the extra person up there, or there's run blitzes. You have to attack. You have to get in the backfield and blow those things up. John Fox does it. We talked to Willie Shaw, the defense coordinator for the Raiders. He loves to do it as well.
Second and 10. George changing it up. Short drop. He's got his man. That is Tim Brown. And Brown close to the first down, maybe short by about a yard. Will it be Sparks on the coverage? Jeff George now 14 of 26.
And what I like about this play right here is that he audibilizes and Tim bites the slant down. He gives himself some room to operate in the middle there, giving himself a big target. You take the slant and you buy it down, and you take less yards and cut it down so you can get a better angle.
You can't play it much better than Flippy Sparks did.
Double tight end, the ball comes loose, and the Raiders maintain possession. George able to dive on that loose ball. It came right from the snap. And some tempers fraying there with some words being exchanged. No flag, however.
You see Jeff George's hand? His left hand went down. It went down. His left hand, before he stepped out, it opened up. He opened his hand up underneath before the ball came up. Watch real slow. Watch his hand right here open up. Watch it. It opens up. Watch it open. Open and bang. The ball's out and on the ground.
The Oakland Raiders will go for it here on 4th down and 3. They are at the Giants' 31-yard line.
It's a little surprising to me. What's that, about 48-yard field goal it would be?
Williams and Ritchie, the running backs. They go to Ritchie, the fullback, and he's got the first down Raiders.
I've seen that play since 1981, the three-strong principle. Getting the tight end in a hook area, getting the wide receiver in a hook area, and then sneaking out that fullback to the flat. The linebackers, everybody's intent on trying to keep everything in tight. They forget about the fullback that slips out of there. Tom Rathman, a la John Ritchie, being able to make the play there.
First down, Oakland. Inside the 25 of the New York Giants. Kaufman gets a couple. Ran into a wall and was pulled down from behind by Conrad Hamilton coming from the corner. And met in front by the defensive end Chad Bratsky.
And you can see the intensity starting to pick up here. That's what you want to see. You want to see Bratsky getting down inside, being able to slant down and take it on. I mean, that's what you want down here. Your front four, this is where they got to step up, Bill. This is where they got to make plays.
2nd and 8. Kaufman over 100 yards now. George steps away from the rush. And it's intended for Tim Brown, but out of bounds, incomplete.
You know, on the pass rush there, you talked about those front four getting after it, and that's where they have to really put the pressure on. These guys are coming. Here's Michael Strahan. He comes on one corner. Watch him getting drugged down to the ground. I mean, they know what kind of presence he can be. And then on the other side, you had Bratsky as well. Bratsky got some push in there, and Harlow drugged him to the ground.
Carlton Gray in the secondary for the Giants, their new acquisition. We have another timeout on the field here with 3rd down still when we return. Widmer out with a strained knee, and you can see walking around hoping that he might get back in. Widmer being worked on a little earlier here. Now up on his feet and hoping to return. Right now his substitute is number 58, Doug Coleman. His 3rd year out of Nebraska, in at middle linebacker for the Giants. 3rd down and 9, Oakland. Following the timeout. George, he's got Tim Brown, touchdown, a flag thrown at the goal line. But Tim Brown is in the end zone with an apparent Oakland score. Let's see what the call's going to be. Conrad Hamilton, number 41, had the coverage for New York. Penalty-filled second half.
Interference. Defense number 41. Penalty is declined. Touchdown.
So it'll stand.
The double sluggo route. They call that sluggo, where you run the double move. You fake like you're going to run the backside corner, and you give him a double move back inside. Double sluggo. Great move by Tim Brown.
Davis for the point after. (17-14). The Raiders in the lead.
And Jeff George has done a great job in this stretch right here, being able to recognize the blitz. Now he'll see the blitz. You see Tim Brown down here at the bottom right here. And when you see Tim Brown there at the bottom, the thing that I like about this, Jeff George recognizes, and he throws off the back foot. The great move by Tim Brown to freeze Conrad Hamilton. It's called sluggo. I used to get whooped by Dwight Clark on that same pass pattern. Dwight was the first guy who ran that pattern, and now everybody that's got the West Coast offense runs the sluggo route.
Sluggo. That sounds like a pass route they would call from me. A sluggo route. Or a slow go. What is sluggo? It's sluggo?
Sluggo.
Jeff George showing some emotion after his touchdown pass connected. It was a perfect strike for him. After a difficult first half, Raiders have taken the lead, 17-14.
Actually, they had all that pressure coming up front on George, and that's the second time that I remember in this game that George has been under pressure and he's found Tim Brown. It seems that if any two people are understanding what to do at the time of pressure, it's Jeff George and Tim Brown.
I agree with you, Bill.
Davis's kickoff taken by David Patton. Patton shakes off one tackle. Now into the infield dirt here at the Oakland Coliseum and gets to the 37-yard line. 30-yard return. Giants first down. Cannell. That is incomplete.
Yeah,
it was
hit the ground.
Fielded neatly by Chris Callaway, but that doesn't count.
Yeah, he fielded that nicely right behind second base.
Right.
Shortstop got behind second base and fielded that little bouncer right up in his stomach. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Get your body in front of it.
Little short hop.
Good field, no hit though, Callaway. Second down.
I used to hate playing on baseball fields. Especially for the defensive linemen. See what a defensive linemen are entrenched right now in there? I mean, that's tough to get good traction and come off the ball.
Greg Camella in at fullback, blocking for Charles Way, and there's no way for Way to go.
And I think it's tough also for the running backs. You saw Charles Way came up in there gingerly. It's hard to get ahead of steam and get up in there and make a cut when you're a big guy.
That'll leave 3rd and 10.
Here's Camella, 45. Now he's a fullback, and then there's Way, 30. Two fullbacks in the backfield, and that's the old counter OU, where the back lines up over there as a offset tight end in the slot and get motions and comes across with the pulling guard.
Albert Lewis in at safety for Anthony Newman at the moment. Newman came into the game with a groin injury. And flags again. Did they make the clock?
Well, what you got there is you got the crowd. And we talked about
Ball
that.
start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
We talked about that with Jack Tatum, and Jack said to me, he goes, Ronnie, I remember walking in the stadium, and when I walked in here, man, I used to get chills. And right there, you got a sense of it. And what happened there, it caused a penalty, Bill.
Can I ask you a question? When everybody talks to you, do they always start out by calling you Ronnie first?
Oh, they love
They
talking
say,
to me.
Ronnie,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what.
And I don't know why.
3rd and 15, and the pass completion to Barber. Barber, good piece of running. Barber fights for the first down. He'll be very close to it. Albert Lewis finally hauled him down. What a good effort by Tiki Barber.
They still fear you, Ronnie. And that's why they call you Ronnie. They want to make sure they're on your side first. They say, Ronnie, and then make sure everything's okay, and then they tell you.
Yeah, and when Mr. Tatum came up,
Mr. Tatum.
He didn't say Ronnie.
You called him Mr. Assassin.
And when you look at this play right here, Tiki Barber gave a great effort on that play, but putting themselves in the hole, that's something that Coach Fossil talked about.
Well, it's
You
another
can't do
third
that.
down they didn't
Yeah.
complete.
You
And
can't-
that's been what's been killing them. Even though they won last week, you look at that game and you say, hey, wait a second, there's something wrong here.
Maynard's punt, line shot, comes down at near the goal line. It's going to be down there at the 1-yard line. That ball just absolutely stopped.
Pete Monty.
Pete Monty buries it there. 54-yard punt. Wasn't the prettiest looking thing you ever saw, but when it landed, watch this ball just absolutely stop. Pops up.
And right here, what you're going to see is that the guy, I'm not sure if his back foot's on that back line.
Pete Monty covering it. And it's going to
At the
stand.
1-yard line.
I'd like to see that, man. It looked like his back
If
foot was
his
on
foot
the
is
back
on
line.
the back line, then it would be a touchback.
Popped, and we see Corey Whitmer back in the middle linebacker. Sprained knee, but after a little work from the trainer, he got himself back out there. Meanwhile, Darrell Ashmore continues for Lincoln Kennedy at right tackle for the Oakland Raiders. George in the end zone. Line shot downfield. Oh, off the fingertips of Brown. Had he caught it, he had nothing but end zone in front of him.
The West Coast offense always likes to throw the ball deep. The West Coast offense, and you'll see right here, Bill. Tim Brown attacking the wide receiver, attacking the Felipe Sparks here, and Jeff George throwing off the back foot. But Tim, that's the one you got to make. That's the one that separates this West Coast offense to Jerry Rice's and making the great plays like that. And
Look at
I'm
those,
sure
look at the
Tim would like to
fingers
have
he
that
has
back.
taped up. He's got those fingers all taped up. You know, he had a sprained thumb from minicamp. Sprained a ligament in his thumb. Jeff George throws the ball so hard, he has to have that thing taped up. See that piece of tape, right? It's connecting his forefinger and his thumb. He keeps a little strand of tape on the other hand so that the thumb won't get much separation from the forefinger.
That was Harvey Williams who got out just over the 3-yard line. It leaves third down along 7. Desmond Howard comes in at wide receiver to make 4 wides on this play. 1 setback. And a hard count draws the Giants
Hamilton,
over.
yeah. You know, that's a tough break for the Giants. That was Hamilton.
What is it about you nose guards, man? Come on, talk to me,
Coach
man.
Vince,
Tell me.
Defense, number 75. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
You know, you always say, how the heck can you move when the ball is right in front of your face? Well, you got to remember that right up there by your ear is that quarterback yelling that hard count, too. And that's what got Hamilton on that one.
So you're not really looking at the ball.
No. Yeah, they always tell you, keep your eye on the ball.
The 5th penalty to the Giants. The Raiders have had 4. That's just here in the third quarter. 1 in every 4 plays in this game has resulted in a flag. That's Ritchie that got that one going. He's got the first down. The rookie from Stanford. 3rd round pick this year. He actually shared the fullback spot at Stanford with the backup fullback of the New York Giants. And that's Greg Camella. We saw earlier leading the blocking for Charles Way on one play.
He had a baptism last week, too, in Kansas City. A rookie coming in at fullback, and fullback's involved as much as the offensive line in pass protection. And he had some breakdowns last week. He didn't understand the audibles and put Jeff George and his offense in a bad situation.
As Kaufman burst to speed, another flag flies.
Yeah.
Short of the first down by about a yard.
Ricky Dudley on that one. Just grabbed. Just mauled Buckley on that.
That would make it 11 if it is against the Raiders. It appears to be. They had 15 in the game last week, the loss at Kansas City.
Holding. Offense, number 83. Penalize half the distance to the goal line. Repeat the down. First down.
Ronnie, you were all over that one. Dudley, the culprit.
And right here on top, you'll see Dudley trying to hold on to his block. He's trying to make that block, and he's got Jersey right there. Now, if he had let it go just a little early, they wouldn't have seen that, and he would have been able to maybe escape without getting a call.
Instead, it's 1st and 15. Short pass to the fullback. Ritchie again breaks a tackle, and Ritchie gets back and picks up the first down. What an effort.
And a holding call against the Raiders. This is absolutely miserable.
Well, what another nice effort. Another one wiped out. The 250-pound rookie from Stanford sees that play call back.
Holding. Offense, number 77. Penalize half the distance to the goal line. Repeat the down. First down.
Pat Harlow this time.
Watch 98, Jesse Armstead, New York Giants linebacker. I think that ankle, see that ankle? He's got it so taped up, he's gingerly on it, running gingerly. He misses a tackle there. That's not the Jesse Armstead that led the team in tackles last year for the Giants. That's not the Jesse Armstead that was voted to the Pro Bowl.
George gives it to Kaufman. Kaufman make it Williams, Harvey Williams straight ahead. No, it is Kaufman, Napoleon Kaufman, number 26.
You know, and you sit here and you look at John Ritchie coming off the field, and how do you reward a guy that is giving that much effort when you get a holding call, Bill? I tell you, that's got to be tough. This guy's giving, look at him, he's dirty. I mean, this is a Matt Millen kind of guy right here. He's dirty, he loves playing the game of football. He's only got one outfit, he wears it all the time, he brushes his hair once a week, and he's not getting rewarded for that effort.
2nd and 15. Raiders trying to climb out of their own end zone. They go to Ritchie again, and the ball comes loose this time.
That looks like it's out.
And the Giants say they have it.
Giants ball.
And so do the officials. So the Giants get it at the 15-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. 2:24 to go, and Marcus Buckley came up with a loose ball. This time 3 Giants converge on Ritchie, and that pops the ball loose.
Yeah, and right here, Ritchie's running a little underneath pattern, and because he's given all that effort, you forget about the ball, Bill. You forget about how to protect the ball, and that time somebody from the backside comes.
Well, that's exactly it. It was a backside. See, in the NFL here, he's going to learn that he had the initial contact. He caught the ball and he turned around. He's bracing for that initial hit by Bradsky, and then he feels, well, I got by that. Then there's going to be a host of other guys that he's got to get used to.
So the Giants in great position here. This is Charles Way. Way slips, but he was going nowhere anyway.
Nice play by Richard Harvey.
Loss of about 3 on the play.
Richard Harvey sniffed that out before it even got started. He saw the blocking up front from the offensive lineman, and he just fell. It wasn't right. And the offensive lineman will always give you the tip of what's going on. Yeah, because it was, you know, when you set up and you're not actually run blocking that hard, you know there's something there. There's something there. There's a rat in a woodpile.
Crowd comes alive in support of the Raiders. Tiki Barber ran into his own blocker, and everything closes down. He got 2 at the most. Back inside the 20.
You know, one thing Willie Shaw likes to do, the defense coordinator, he says, you know, when you're playing 90s offenses, and now that's what all offenses are now. He calls them 90s offenses. You've got to be able to blitz on non-blitz downs. He says, I like to come after him on first down, on second and 6 or more. Downs where normally defenses don't blitz. He says you have to do that because when you sit back, he says they're just going to dink and dunk you around the field, and you don't want to give them 5 or 6 yards underneath. He says be aggressive.
3 wide receivers from the shotgun for Cannell, and it's dropped by Charles Way. Another flag.
The penalty, I'm telling you, the penalties here are just, I'm getting about sick up here of watching it. They have, okay, that's going to be holding another 10 yards. So now we're looking at about almost 180 yards of total penalty yards in today's game. The Giants offense,
number 78, 10-yard penalty, repeat the down, 3rd down.
The Giants have a total of 199 yards of total offense, and there's 180 some yards in total penalty yards. That's disgusting.
And I think a lot of that, Bill, is attributed to the fact that they're out here on the West Coast for the first time. It's a young football team. They haven't been able to keep their composure. They had a chance to score 3 points there. Now they put themselves in another negative position. It's going to be tough to recover on this play.
3rd down back at the 30-yard line now. 24 yards needed for a first down. Cannell to Hilliard. Not too much, 3 or 4. Not sure if that was the best choice for his pass target. In that
hands. He is not going to let Danny Cannell go downfield and take chances this early in his career.
43-yard field goal attempt for Deloiso. And it's good. Brad Deloiso. And no penalty flag is thrown. So we're tied at 17. 50 seconds remaining in the 3rd. That gorgeous view, one of the most enduring symbols in the world. A Goodyear blimp eagle, providing the aerial pictures. Yeah, I think somebody threw a flag on the blimp. It's entirely plausible, a Goodyear blimp. We are now up to 26 penalties in this game. The NFL record is 37. And we've still got a whole quarter to go. Deloiso's kickoff taken in the end zone by Desmond Howard. He will not bring it out. We have had 4 touchdowns. It's kind of amazing that it's occurred at all. This was the first one, the first play of the game. Napoleon Kaufman, 80 yards for the opening score. Danny Cannell to Ike Hilliard for the Giants. Then in the 2nd quarter, beautiful move here. Callaway from Cannell. And then it was George to Tim Brown. So we've had 4 scores despite all of the penalty flags. It's Raider ball starting at their 20-yard line. Kaufman gets a couple. Raiders 13 penalties, 2 short of their number last week with still a quarter to go. And it's cost them 93 yards. For the Giants, they're 13. That's cost them 80 yards. 2nd and 8. Cedric Jones and Christian Peter in the defensive front now for the Giants. Peter 99, Jones 94. Good time. And this time George throws another ground ball. Tim Brown fielding that one as well as Callaway did for the Giants, but it doesn't count.
You talk about those penalties, Tim, and you talked last week the Raiders had 15. This week they're up to 13 already. And I think that penalties on a team are a gauge, like a monitor of discipline, of team discipline. If you look around the leagues, and the teams that have the fewest penalties at the end of the year are the teams that you can look at and know have discipline. Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, Kansas City. And you look at them and you think of what kind of team they are, and they're disciplined teams. When you see the Raiders' numbers dropping penalties, you'll know they've caught on to John's system.
George steps up and fires. What a rope that was, and it's complete. And that is James Jett with a good catch. Wooten hanging all over him. But another flag. And it's at the line of scrimmage. 12-yard gain on the play. See which way this goes.
Holding, defense, penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
defensive holding, and so
This is
the
the conclusion of the third quarter.
12-yard gain will stand for the first down, and we've reached the end of the third quarter with the score. The New York Giants 17, the Oakland Raiders 17. Fox NFL Sunday continues after this from your local station. Get dressed up.
Well, anything can be a Raider, you know. A Raider, it's hard to dress up as a Bear or a Packer, but anything could be a Raider.
George just gets it away. Didn't see the action on the backside, but he threw it out of bounds. Well, the old days we talked about at the beginning of our game, this was a tough place to come in. Nobody wanted to come in and play the Raiders during that 20-year span between 65 and 85. The stadium was filled every time, and they were rabid fans, to say the least. But since their return, this is the beginning of their fourth season after coming back from LA. The Raiders are 10-14 at home. In fact, they've only won 6 of their last 20 home games, and that, of course, is attributed to their decline in attendance. Those that are here, cheer them on. That's Kaufman. Kaufman gets about 5. There's an idea of the numbers. I mean, you just didn't want to come in here. Look at that. An .822 percentage, 1967 to 81. But things have fallen off all the way down to a 41% win-loss. Al Davis would like to see those first set of numbers up here again. And of course, that's the effort with the hiring of John Gruden and the hope that he can get the program turned around to the commitment to excellence, the Raiders' slogan of their winning days. Third down, a long 5. George running out of time, and it's Strahan pulling him down.
You just know that was a matter of time that one of the defensive linemen were going to step up. And we look at this guy, we had a chance to talk with him. He made a sack early on in this game, and he does the same thing. He takes him and he walks him back to the quarterback and takes him downfield.
You get those hands on you and you bow that back, as that's what Michael Strahan does, and then you can come off of that once you've jolted him. But the thing about Strahan is he is playing like a Pro Bowler. He believes now, he says, hey, I'm a Pro Bowler, and now he plays like that, play after play, week in and week out.
Aragu's punt taken by Toomer. Toomer trying to get wide, and if he does, he's got some room. Here he goes. And it's the punter who steps into him close to the 35-yard line.
Tim, I talked about the penalties as a monitor for discipline. I think special teams play is also a monitor for discipline. And there's been no coverage from either team today.
And I'm sure that Dad is very proud of him on that play.
We're back at the Oakland Coliseum on first down. Barber for the Giants, and nice piece of running by Tiki Barber down close to the 20-yard line. A Giant first down set up by that punt return from Amani Toomer.
And what I like about that play, Bill, is that he got outside again. You talked about that earlier.
Watch right here. Here's Grady Jackson. He's in there and he gets reached right here, and that creates a seam. Now see this? That's where the cutback lane is. Because Grady Jackson doesn't get across the face.
Barber this time trying to go straight ahead, and they stop him right at the line. Grady Jackson.
And he's in there. He's in there for Darrell Russell. Now comes Chuck Osborne and Grady Jackson, and now in goes Russell and Merlin. Yeah, when you get backed up down there, you let them drive down the field. You got to get your starters back in there.
Loss of nearly a yard on that last play. 2nd and 11. Hilliard goes in motion. Cannell shoots it out to the back, and that's incomplete. Too low for Tiki Barber. Barber taking a look for some real estate there. Didn't make the catch. Now let's go for an NFL update to James Brown in Hollywood.
Hey, Timmy, and it all surrounds how Terrell Davis and the Broncos are manhandling the Cowboys. Terrell Davis' 3rd touchdown run of the day. He's got 177 yards to boot. Rough day for Aikman. Fractured clavicle, out 4 to 8 weeks. Injury also to Elway, strained right hamstring. But Denver on top, 42-23. Tim, Bill, and Ronnie.
Yeah, it's a tough time for quarterbacks all around the league. Last week there was 8 injured, now Aikman and Elway.
3rd down for Cannell. Cannell incomplete. Intended for Callaway. And it was Marquez Walker who had the tight coverage on him. Brings up 4th down.
The one thing about Danny Kanell is, and Jim Fossil talked to us about it, Ronnie, is he's going to put the ball only where his receiver has a chance to catch it. Now, if the receiver can't catch it because of the coverage, the chances are that the defender isn't going to intercept it.
Yeah, and what he said was he wants his quarterback to throw it away from the defensive back. How many quarterback coaches teach their quarterbacks to throw it away from there?
Deloiso's field goal is no good. From 42 yards out, we remain tied. We'll be back at the Oakland Coliseum, 12:28 to go regulation time. Field goal attempt from 42 yards out. He's on the infield dirt here, the home of the Oakland A's.
And you can see right there, the ball's lean like the Leaning Tower of Pizza.
Into the punter, into Maynard.
And
In there. You always want that ball to be a wreck. It looks like, yeah, there's another angle of it.
So it's wide right, and we remain tied at 17. Raiders take over the ball at the former line of scrimmage, right there at the 30-yard line. And a flag comes down again.
They're going to get him on
like
false start.
False start call.
Yeah, you know what? Well, I'll tell you what happened was Jeff George was up there audibly in the call.
False start. Offense 82. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
yeah, and 82 decided, Jet decided that I can't take off from that spot. I got to move my engine over and take off a little bit on the inside. And you can't do that if you're to split in. You got to stay on the line of scrimmage.
James Jett gets the call and makes it 1st and 15. George hit from behind. The ball picked up by the Raiders. Harlow grabbed the loose ball, but it was Bradsky who put the hit from behind. George never saw him.
You know, Bradsky, we talked about him earlier as an overachiever. He just keeps working. I want you to take a look at him right over here. Here's Bradsky. He's rushing on Pat Harlow on the outside. Watch him. He knocks the hands down. He turns the corner and he strips at the ball. And then Harlow, good heads-up call by getting the ball. Well, Bradsky's a guy who's been playing hard the whole game. He's been running downfield. He's pursuing the ball. He's around, making things happen.
2nd and 23. Kaufman nowhere to go, and guess who's there again? It was Bradsky.
Yeah.
And he had help from Hamilton.
And what I'm getting the sense of is this line, these front four guys that we talked about are now taking and dominating the line of scrimmage. And this is where you got to step up. This is where you got to play good football, defensive football with your front four, Bill.
There was a great article written in the New York Post this week by Steve Serby about Bradsky. I mean, it just really sums up what you have in this guy all the way back to when he was at Eastern Michigan, Kentucky.
All the way back to when he was 6 years old. He wanted to play in the NFL. That's complete. Dudley, the tight end. Now they were waiting for a big play to him, and he gets to the first down.
Ricky Dudley has all the abilities to be the next Kellen Winslow, and he's right up here on top. He's able to get up the seam pattern, and Jeff George keeps going to the well. Well, this time he was able to deliver.
Yeah, there wasn't much of an opening there, but that's belief in your tight end. When you throw the ball and there's coverage around him that close, as Marcus Buckley was, you're believing in your tight end.
Kaufman trying the middle, really clogged up that time. Got maybe a yard. Christian Peter made the tackle. George is now 20 of 36. And earlier in this game, he was 3 for 11 for just 53 yards. But he's now well up over 200 and has gotten stronger as the game has gone on. But we're still tied, 17-17. Julian Kaufman, 15 carries, has him up on 119, including his 80-yard run for a touchdown on the opening play of the game. 2nd down, long 7, and that's just overthrown to James Jett.
Bradsky and Harlow are just having a battle. Those two guys have been going at it all day long. And he comes in on this pass play, and he just shakes free. Here's Harlow, and here's Bradsky rushing outside. Watch, he just gets around them, and then Harlow drags him down. Crafty veteran move by Harlow. Slide down the leg and bring him down as well. Then on the other side, it's Michael Strahan. He's battling Darrell Ashmore, getting that push. Those two guys can bring it.
Third down. George changing it and can't get it done in time. Takes a timeout. And that's their final timeout here with 9:44 to go. Regulation time. And you got to wonder what's going through John Gruden's mind. Here they are in a tight game, but this is a lot like last week, just a better score.
Well, that's the whole key, a better score. And he's a young guy, too. You know, only 35 years old. We talked to him, and I appreciated his honesty. You know, I said, hey, what was it like going out there? He says, I'll tell you what. I'm over there. I'm 35 years old. I'm across the stadium from Marty Schottenheimer.
And I think what's happening to him right now, he's got that recall of being in this situation. How do I manage the clock? How do I get this West Coast offense to continue to run plays? And right there, we got another outside.
Don't stop.
Oh.
And they didn't stop. Giant jump. The ball comes loose. Tim Brown, was he down? They call it incomplete. Didn't have possession. And a flag back at the line of scrimmage. No question, a giant jump. Was he drawn?
See, what happens is when Keith Hamilton jumped off sides there.
Offside. Defense, number 75. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. Third down.
When he jumps offside, watch, Tim. I want to teach you a little something here about defensive line play. I know you're really interested in this stuff. When he jumps off sides here, when Hamilton jumps and gets into the right there, now he stops. He stands up and he stops. But the play can still go on. You've got to finish and go wrap the quarterback up, because otherwise he can take a shot downfield and you don't know what your defensive backs are doing back there.
Good point. 3rd and 2 with the penalty. Tim Brown in motion behind the ball. Flags and whistles.
Hey, Bill, why can't we put some cotton in his ears? Maybe that'll get him.
Start. Offense, 77. 5-yard penalty.
Well, they just gave it right back to him.
You take 5, we'll take 5.
We'll take 5. You take 5.
You know, get a hold of you and get a 10.
29 penalties now. The record 37 could still be reached at the pace we're going here. 9:38 to go. So back to 3rd and 8. North sideline. And, right on the target.
What a grab.
And what a pass. Tim Brown connecting.
And that's the throw that gets everybody excited. That throw right there is what Jeff George is all about. And you see him, he's able to lead Tim Brown, but the line drive, it doesn't give Carlton Gray a chance to react on that play. Tim Brown has gone up against Carlton Gray. Carlton Gray used to be at the Seattle Seahawks, so he knows how to work this guy, but Jeff George makes an excellent throw there, Tim.
Oh, what a throw. Fantastic throw. And a first down at the 27-yard line. Raiders driving in Giants territory. Kaufman gets a couple close to the 25-yard line.
Well, they just picked him up from the Colts.
Carlton Gray, you're talking about?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And Indy cut him in a dispute. You know, he was upset because they started Tyrone Poole, but they picked up in free agency. And Carlton was upset and voiced his opinion publicly. So he got the axe there. And actually, you know, the Giants really made a quick move in going in and scarfing him up. Ernie Accorsi, you know, really pulled a fast trigger in negotiating that contract and helping the Giants out since they lost Sehorn.
Second down and 8. One pump from George, and he flicks that with a tremendous wrist strength he has. It's caught by the tight end Dudley, short of the first down, but it won't leave much. It'll be 3rd and about a yard, and they've taken 4 minutes off the clock on this drive. Have the Raiders. It's down to 8:14 remaining. Tied at 17, and they're in scoring position.
And when you look at the Raiders, Ronnie, you see flashes. I saw it last week in the Kansas City game. You see there's that pass down to Tim Brown, a touchdown here, a big run here. You see flashes, but you get the sense that it's just bits and pieces. You can see that there's no continuity and no flow to the offense yet. They still have a long way to go.
Yeah, they got a long way to go, but right now I'm looking at Jesse Armstead. 4 minutes they've been on the field, and Jesse Armstead with that ankle, you see him, he's tired, he's bending over, Bill, and he's having a tough time right now. And we talked about that. Are they getting a false sense there? A false sense of
Sure.
of a defense. Everybody's talked about the Giant defense, about getting turnovers. Now they got a team that's taking them down the field, Bill.
Well, I'll take it a step further than that. I think they might have a false sense of their team. Now, last year, they were 7-0-1 in their conference. But when they went out in their division, and when they went out of their division and played other teams, they were losing games. Every time they went on the road or they played an AFC team, they seemed to drop them. I think they beat one team, and that was the Cincinnati.
Well, it's been their defense. It's been the story of their success last year and last week, and they are third and inches now. The Raiders, and let's see what the Giants can do. A flag is thrown to nobody's surprise. Harvey Williams, the ball carrier. The whistle, I believe, was before the play. So
False start.
Yes,
Offense,
indeed.
number 76. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
My goodness. What
Do
can
you
you
get-
say?
Do you get paid for throwing more flags? Because this game, these referees are getting well paid.
Yeah, they're on commission.
They got to be on commission, man.
Well, they're getting help from the players who are taking these fouls. And that backs it up again, so it's 5 yards and a few inches. Third down over again. George, with a man on him, he's pulled down. The ball is loose, and the Raiders just recover it in time. I believe it's Harlow who got back to smother it. They'll make it Ashmore came up with a loose ball. And that's the 5th sack by the Giants.
Well, I want you to take a look here. First of all, you keep 2 backs in, okay? Now, when you keep 2 backs in, you've got to find the linebacker. There's the linebacker. They went out to help out on Strahan, and nobody stays in to pick up the blitzing linebacker, Armstead.
And you got to find him. Harvey Williams has a check inside and then
Work
go
out.
out to
Yeah,
the,
that's
work
exactly
to the
right. That's
outside
your progression.
and then chip Michael Strahan.
So the Giants defense comes up big again, forcing the punt. It's out of bounds inside the 5-yard line or close to the 5.
And Bill, you know, they didn't get a turnover there, but that is a turnover. I mean, they're down there. They have a chance to kick a field goal. Right there, man, you got to make a play, and they made a play.
You'll see the entire Fox lineup starting with the world's funniest at 7 p.m. First down, Giants at the 6-yard line of New York. Tiki Barber scratches for a couple out the right side. The crowd exhorting the Oakland defense to do what the Giants just did to them. Danny Cannell, 18 of 23 on the day. And I guess the question is, with their running attack averaging about 3 yards a carry in this game, are they going to be looking for Danny Cannell to pick up the passage through the airways to try and win this in the final minutes? Going to the air here on second down, fires it into Hilliard. Hilliard slashing across the middle, a flag is down. The Giants have had 14 penalties. The Raiders have had 16. Make it 15 now for New York. Raiders have surpassed last week's 15, the Kansas City game.
And in answer to your question about Cannell, Tim, no, they're not going to force him to win the ball game by throwing down. Actually, it's exactly the type of ball game they anticipate and hope for every week.
Offense, number 74. Penalized half the distance. Repeat the down. Second.
He has not hurt them. He hasn't had a pick. He's 18 of 23 throwing the ball for 160 yards, and he has 2 touchdown passes. Out of the end zone to the sideline. That's right on target to Callaway. Callaway gets to the 10-yard line, and it'll leave. Third down and about 6.
And that sixth sense that Danny Cannell brings to the table is what he's applying right now. Everybody talks about arm strength. They talk about all the other attributes that quarterbacks have to have, but the one that I like the most, decision making. And that's what this kid has done. He's making good decisions with the football.
He's got 3 wide receivers. Juravicius, the number 2 pick from Penn State, is in the lineup. Cannell comes out intended for Callaway, a little behind him. One of the few times a little off target. On the coverage was Marcus Walker, number 38.
You know, last week they were 2 for 12 on third downs. As of right now, the Giants are 1 for 12. And third down area and rushing yards per carry is a big concern for the Giants offensively.
Maynard standing in the end zone for this punt. 5:45 on the clock. Raiders are going to have good field position here with this 17-17 tie. They have the ever dangerous Desmond Howard. He'll take it right at midfield. He signals fair catch at the Giant 49. 40-yard punt. Well, it's been 25 years, we mentioned earlier, since the Giants played here at the Oakland Coliseum. The first time they met was the last time they faced each other here. Everybody looked a little different in those days, didn't they? Raiders were led by John Madden and the Snake, Kenny Stabler. 2 touchdown passes for him, and the defense pitched a shutout. Marv Hubbard, remember this fullback, ran for 2 second-half touchdowns, and the Raiders won that ball game 42-0.
Freddie B right there, Freddie Biletnikoff.
Receivers coach here, and one of the great receivers ever to play this game. On first down, got a 5-yard pickup for Kaufman and the short pass from George.
You know, I think with the time remaining, you're run 5:20 and it's running down. It's real important right now for Jeff George to get in the huddle and consume and take over that huddle. All right, guys, listen up, okay? No penalties, do your job. Here's what we're running. And you get down the field and you chew up another minute and a half or 2 minutes and you get the ball in the end zone. And now that's putting the game in Danny Cannell's hands and forcing him to drive the length of the field. That's the best scenario for the Raiders.
Second and a long 5, Kaufman. Kaufman rips it through for a first down to the 35 of New York.
And all day you got this kid going to the outside. You got him going to the outside. Now he's patient. As you can see here, he's patient. And one of the things when you have that nitro speed and you're trying to get outside and you cut it back, everybody's going to zoom, and they're going to zoom to the outside. That time he was able to turn it back up, and that's what you got to do now. Control the football, being smart with it, but putting it in Kaufman's hands.
2 tight ends in on this formation. And they go quickly to Tim Brown on the weak side, and he has a first down. Nice looking play by the Raiders.
So far, so good.
That's right. Yeah, there are a few doubting Thomases, I'm sure, and there are 3 of them here.
Have you been in this situation before with the Raiders? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, from what I've seen so far this year in the second half, they're fighting. They're a team that fight. And now I'm seeing them put together 3 plays in a row with some crispness and some direction.
3:49 on the clock. First down inside the 25. The Giants just clog everything up that time. Little, if any, gain for Harvey Williams.
But in answer to your question, Ronnie, yeah, years prior to this, yeah, this is where they would fall apart. When it came crunch time for them and they had to make something happen, that's when they'd fall apart.
And what I like now is that we talked about the fast-paced offense. Look at them. They're milking the clock now. They're being patient. So everybody's talked about the philosophy of getting up to the clock. Here they're taking their time. They're working the clock.
Mickens in the slot. Tim Brown wide left. Play action. George, and he was trying to get the fullback downfield.
He was trying to get Buckley turned around. Marcus Buckley, the linebacker, tried that little wheel route outside where you go to the flat, and then you turn up the sidelines and get behind the linebacker.
Couldn't quite pull it off. That'll leave third down and 9. Williams comes back in. Kaufman comes out. Giants change up defensively. Widmer comes off the field. Extra defensive backs in their nickel here on 3rd and 9.
Quick toss.
George up the middle, nice catch, a diving grab by Desmond Howard, his first catch of the day, and he has a first down.
Gutsy call.
Well, nobody can zip it like he can. Maybe Favre, that quick thing, it's just in the wrist, ping, it goes on a line. It's a beautiful thing to see when he's on.
And what you like about this, he looked off the defense there.
Looked at
Came
Tim
back,
Brown out of right.
came back inside with the quick toss, and that's what you like. You like to see a quarterback that can move defensive players, Bill.
Well, I gave him the first down. They are going to measure.
James Jett was over on the sidelines. James Jett was over on the sidelines stretching out a hamstring. The trainers were working on him, and that's what got Desmond Howard into the game.
First down at the 13-yard line. There's a look at James Jett. Well, Howard made a good catch for somebody who's only been on the punt and kickoff teams here today until that play. First down, Giants 13, 2:32 to go. Brown in motion. Kaufman eludes the first man into the backfield. That's Bratsky, who slaps the ground because he thought he had a shot at him.
The Giants took a timeout.
2:22 on the clock, and New York takes timeout. The ball is now at the 13-yard line.
And that's basically just stopping the clock and forcing them to run one more play before the 2-minute warning. See, if they got back in the huddle, they'd just waste 17 seconds or the 20 seconds or whatever's left on the clock. They'd run it down by being in the huddle. That's 17 seconds that the Giants just saved by calling a timeout and forcing them to run a play.
And this is where John Gruden has to be smart with the football. He's got to make sure that he completes a pass if they're going to complete a pass, or they got to run the football. You can't have an incomplete pass at this situation.
Dickens out to the right. Jim Brown in the slot. He'll keep it on the ground for Kaufman. Kaufman finds a little opening down to about the 9. They need to get to the 3-yard line for a first down.
Yeah, they're going to do another one. Smart decision.
And they lost 5 seconds there, Bill.
Because they hesitated, didn't they?
Yeah, they hesitated. Look at Jim Fossil. He's upset because he didn't get the timeout.
Watch the fullback, John Ritchie, number 40. He just lowers his head and seeks out Jesse Armstead. Like I said, you saw the way Jesse Armstead, he's not playing football with his hands. He's not using, he had to put his whole body into that thing and just about coil up just to maintain the hole. And there's Fossil, he's hot. Fossil says, you don't know what's going on out there? I wanted a timeout. As soon as the play's over, timeout. And you were right, Ronnie, they wasted about 5 seconds waiting to call that timeout. That 5 seconds is going to turn out to be vital.
Especially with the Danny Cannell offense. You need time because he's not going to give you the big play. You need the time so you can move down the field methodically.
They need 5 for a first down. To get to the 3-yard line, it's 3rd down. 2:09. Play action fake. Fade pattern, and it's well deep. Out of bounds, incomplete. The tight end, Dudley. The apparent intended receiver, but it's going to be field goal time
now
for the Oakland Raiders.
What I don't understand, they would have had to use a timeout. They would have had to burn a timeout, and now they get the 2-minute warning, and they're going to get a timeout.
Don't throw the ball away. Run it up in the middle of the field.
Run it up in the middle of the field.
Some kind of a miscue on that pass pattern too, though, to Dudley. You can see George kind of opening his hands saying, what happened, man? 26-yard field goal attempt for Davis. And Davis has it. And the Raiders take the lead with 1:59 to play, 20-17. Greg Davis, who missed a pair last week at Kansas City, has his team in front. 1:59 remaining. Comes down to 1:59 to go, and the Goodyear Blimp Eagle will provide the aerial pictures for the remainder of this game that's turned into a thriller here. Despite all of the miscues, we've got a 3-point game. That is David Patton, and he is stopped right at the 20-yard line. And now the Oakland defense will have this crowd behind them here to support that 3-point lead. The 23-yard field goal by Greg Davis is 2 for 2 today after missing both of 2 attempts last week.
And what Danny Cannell has to do at this time right now is take what the defense gives you. Work the underneath pattern. You got a great field goal kicker in DeLuiso. He's got a strong leg. Work the clock. You got a timeout. It's plenty of time. Be patient.
They've got to get the ball to about Oakland's 35.
4 wide receivers are in. Cannell holds his ground and finds Hilliard. Hilliard gets about 9. Cannell is now 19 of 24.
Giants with 1 timeout remaining.
Second and a yard here at their own 29-yard line. 1:39. Crowd alive. Cannell stands well in the pocket again. Gets it out to Barber, the release man, and gets the first down. And
First
stops
down
the clock.
and out of bounds, yeah.
1:30 when he stepped out. 1:30 remains.
This is where you grow up real quick, you know. You grow up in this situation right here. And Danny Cannell, that was a great throw right there. He was patient, he waited. Tiki Barber, let me get it to him.
Well, it's also where you gather that team leadership.
They're just short of the first down. He measured it right on the sideline for accuracy. Where the player stepped out, Barber.
When you're in that position at quarterback right now, Ronnie, and you maintain your poise and things work out for you and you drive your team downfield and remain poised, that's when those things start going back. Now on Monday, your team starts saying to itself quietly around to the guy next to you, your buddy in your next locker, hey, how about Cannell? Huh? And that's when you become a leader of your team.
So much at stake in that department for both of these teams. The poise necessary here. Raiders trying to protect the 3-point lead. 1:30 to play. Inches to go for a first. They'll pass. Now gets some time. Went to the short man and not a good pass. Intended for Barber. He tried to keep it down. That's what his coach wants him to do against tight coverage.
Eric Turner was all over him. I mean, I don't care where he threw the ball. Eric Turner had him blanketed.
And you talk about that rat that you can smell.
The rat in the woodpile?
Yeah, the rat in the woodpile. Well, Eric Turner found it.
He smelled one out there, didn't he?
Yeah, he found it.
Now they got fourth down.
That was a good play right there.
They threw on the 3rd and inches. Now they got to run and get the first down. Cannell, good push for him. He's got the first down to the 31. Time ticks, 1:20 and under. Now it's
look what he does. He hooks 2 people. He hooks 2 arms and just drives. They just down the ball there. Danny, they lined up. The referee stopped the clock to get everybody back and lined up. Then Danny Cannell had to down the ball.
And the referee in that situation, that's his call.
Stadium clock has 1:15. 2nd and 10. And Hilliard holds on despite a tough hit from Marquez Walker.
They're going to try to save that last timeout for the field goal.
1:04 and counting down to a minute now.
Now they're going to need a big play.
At the Giants 40. And now out to Barber again. Barber steps out at the Giants 40. The New York Giants right from the get-go in 1998. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Cannell on a line, and it is incomplete. Intended for Jurevicius.
I think Jurevicius got robbed.
Charles Woodson had the coverage. The Heisman Trophy winner.
And we haven't talked about him all day, but right there, Ohio State, Michigan, atmosphere, what happens? The guy comes up with the play.
I thought there was contact early on this. I thought he ran right through his shoulder.
Jurevicius was looking for a flag. 3rd down, this is it here for the Giants. 46 seconds left, pressure on Cannell, and he is sacked.
I was wondering when they were going to come with the blitz.
Eric Turner.
And Willie Shaw, you blitz when you don't think they're going to blitz. You come when you don't think they're going to come. That time they didn't think they were going to come. He came with the blitz. Big play by Eric Turner.
They hadn't blitzed that entire series.
32 seconds, 4th down. Cannell up the middle of the field, picked up by Turner. Out of bounds, and 23 seconds left. The Raiders have the ball and the lead.
I think that's what happened when you put the ball in Danny Cannell's hand and force him to win the game. When they had time on the clock, like you were talking about earlier, Ronnie, about them saving that extra 5 seconds. When you have time, Danny Cannell can move down the field by taking the stuff underneath. But when he's forced to go long, bad things happen.
And bad things happen because Eric Turner on this play is just being patient, reading Danny Cannell's eyes. He went into the middle again, and Eric Turner, being a crafty veteran, comes up with the big play, and that's why they brought this kid in here to make plays like that.
Well, nice catch, too.
I love this play here, especially when you're on the winning team. The old kneel down.
Yeah.
Now, it's the worst play when you're on the losing team and you're out there on defense.
Nobody enjoyed that opportunity more than Jeff George. Jeff George beaten up last week. A game that saw a whole bunch of plays similar this week to last week in terms of yellow flags, 16 penalties, and yet the same kind of spirit and fight that Oakland showed last week in their loss to Kansas City. They got it out here and win 20-17.